Ever since I was a little girl growing up in Tulsa, Oklahoma, my family vacationed in southwest Missouri as often as possible. It was a home away from home, an escape from the childhood realities of school, homework, and chores, a place to be around family, swim in the river, and celebrate the joys of being a kid. In the winter, it was cold and snowy, bringing us to gather around the wood-burning fireplace. In the summer, it was hot and sunny, bringing us outside and down to the creek to swim and play in the water. But we weren't the only ones attracted to the water on those hot, sunny summer days. You would think that growing up around snakes, I would have grown accustomed to their presence, understanding that they were more scared of me than I was of them. But I was never fond of them, and this dislike grew from a young age. I've searched my mind and memories for a single incident that I could blame my ever-growing fear on, but I continually come up empty. Certainly, there were instances that could have contributed. My great-uncle's enjoyment of catching wild snakes and bringing them in to show all the kids. The many times we had close calls with snakes, like my brother spotting one in the brush and jumping off our raft, pushing me closer and closer to it. But nothing that seemed traumatic enough to induce a life-changing fear of a species that never actually hurt me. As a child, my fear was manageable, manifesting mainly in avoidance behavior. I still played in the river, but I was gone as soon as one was sighted. It wasn't until I was older that I remember the fear really taking hold. By the time I was in high school, I couldn't even look at a picture of a snake. I remember throwing a magazine across the room because when I turned the page, there was a bright green snake staring right back at me. And to think my thumb had just been touching that page. That thumb was now dirty, having touched an image of evil incarnate. I couldn't handle seeing snakes on TV. My family and friends all knew to warn me if one were about to come on. I had nightmares after seeing snakes. Snakes that would consume me, slithering up from below the ground to swallow me whole like the worms from trimmers. Pits of snakes that I couldn't get out of. Snakes that would crawl over me in my bed. The fear was consuming my life. I could no longer watch Animal Planet because they constantly played on the dangerousness of snakes, showing them striking straight at the camera. My husband would have to screen videos to see if I could watch them and cover up books featuring snakes when we went to the bookstore. And then there was the panic attack I had in my undergrad physiology class. I had heard rumors that the professors played a slideshow with images of snakes to induce a fear response and illustrate the effects of the sympathetic nervous system. I've never left a class so quickly, full-blown panic gripping my body, searching for refuge, all from the rumor of a slideshow. It was getting to be too much. But I also knew that to overcome my fear would require facing that fear. There was no way I could do that. The fear was too strong. It ruled me, controlled me. I was its slave. But what about the future? There were kids in my life now, 2 nieces who I was certain would pick up on my extreme fear, who might learn that fear and assimilate it as their own, who I didn't want to hear the words, "Aunt Katie is going to sit out here while you go in the reptile house. She's too scared of snakes." And so I tried, never sure that I would really make it through the process, wondering each step of the way if I would have nightmares that night, if I should just stop there, maybe that step was enough. We started off small, talking about snakes. What parts scared me the most? What situations scared me the most? What did I think was so evil about them? Could I find any good, any beauty in them at all? I would tense up at first, my muscles tightening, fists clenching, forgetting to breathe. But eventually, I controlled my breathing. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In, out. My muscles relaxed, my fist loosened, and we moved on. Could I look at a cartoon snake? Conquered. Could I look at pictures of real snakes? No, the breathing got harder, the muscles tightened, take a step back. Cartoon snakes that were in color? Draw a cartoon snake. Conquered. The victories were small, one step at a time, but I was seeing them. I drew a snake. I looked at a cartoon image of a snake long enough to draw it myself. Back to images of real snakes. Could I look at parts of them? Which images were the easiest to look at? What bothered me about the tough images? The tongue. I can't look at that ugly, forked tongue. That ugly face. Start small then. Find images that don't show that. Look at the scales. What patterns do you see? Look at images where the snake is far away. Remember you're breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Conquered. Now look at images that show a snake up close. Don't include the tongue, save that for later. Focus on the differences between the snakes, not their evil looks. Is there anything you find pretty in them? Look at those iridescent colors in this one. That one looks like a dragon. Conquered. Now try the tongue. Start from far away just as you did before. Breathe. Focus. Conquered. And then I thought it just might be possible. Perhaps I could overcome this fear that ruled me, that enslaved me. But the next step, videos, it could undo me. Seeing the slithering, the striking, induced that same fear response from before. Take it slow. Weed out the videos that were too much. Focus on the ones that were calm first. Work your way up. Breathe. Watch the calm snake move around the terrarium, the guy's pet snake held in his hands. Conquered. Then try the snakes in the wild, slithering to get to safety, to food. The snakes in the water fighting the current on their way through life. Conquered. Try the ones closer up. Look at how it moves its head. Breathe. Focus. Conquered. And then, the final step. Being near a real snake. In real life, no panic. I didn't know if I could, but I had to try. I was tense, focusing on my breathing. They arrived in plastic containers and pillowcases. I couldn't see them. I had no idea what he was pulling out of the pillowcase. First a milk snake, then a corn snake. Next a python. This one named Lucky. Can I touch it? Would I touch it? She wasn't slimy, she was dry. She seemed friendly and calm. A friendly snake? Whose thoughts were these? Did I really do it? I touched a snake. And the best part? There were no nightmares. I have overcome my fear and kept it at bay, though it sometimes tries to sneak back in. That reptile house that I always avoided, I've now seen 3 times. I go in each time I'm at the zoo to reinforce my newfound freedom. I wear an Ouroboros ring on my pointer finger to remind me that fear is not my captor, that it can be faced and conquered, that I devoured that fear and came out stronger. It remains as the most empowering event I've ever been through. I am no longer a slave to that fear. I am in control.